thing done in one day where I start streaming and I just keep going till it's done. I'm ready. Gonna be fun. All right. Scratching my back. Okay. So yes, Songs of the White Carnations, a Corto Maltese inspired armored riverboat combat adventure game. We got a little bit to work with here. We kind of got the most basic systems down here, right here. And I think this is what we're going to keep with. I think, you know, keeping with the, it's pitch black in my room right now, by the way. So I think sticking with the 2d6 plus the card mechanic, I think that would be a good idea. Has the right tone to it, has the right feeling to it. And generally speaking, I think things are going to look pretty alright with this one. I've been meaning to do more stuff with cards. Because like a full card deck has so many possibilities in it. Way more than dice. But it just never really feels appropriate to use them. It never really has like the opportunity to be like, now's the time for the cards. No, that never pops up. Okay, so we've got our most basic ideas. I'm going to kind of shove all of these things over here because we need to get our most basic concepts. So, the Corto Maltese RPG, a armored riverboat combat adventure game. What I should also put in here, kind of more along the lines of episodic, pretty much like a very episodic RPG inspired by Franco-Belgian / Italian comics, otherwise known as very adventure, but also very dramatic when need to be. So first things first, we already kind of are going to be dealing with the episodic nature. I don't really need that anymore. And first big note here is the idea of mystery, action, and drama, otherwise known as, those are going to be our three key things that we need to emphasize consistently. Oh yeah, before I forget, I would like to, oh man, why do you do this to me? I would like to thank Unshackled. Okay, all right, I'm ready. All right, everyone, get ready. Okay, everyone, are you hyped up? Unshackled Ushabati. Unshackled Ushabati for following. Thank you very much. I probably butchered your name, but it's not as bad as me saying it. Ushabti. Unshackled Ushabti? That sounds wrong. Everything about it is wrong, and I'm scared about it. It frightens me. No, not subs, follows. Sorry, my friend. We're not that good yet. However, I would like to bring to you my sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Fucking. Okay, I'm going to give you this. I'll give you all of this. The second I take a Raid Shadow Legends ad, like, fully just download it and give me every piece of commission dollar you can from it. Everyone, just give it to me. Put a good name in there for 10 cent as well. I'll shill. Fuck, I don't care what it is. I'll shill it. Genshin Impact, I'm your man. Arknights, I'm here. Give it to me. What are some other gacha games that I could shill ruthlessly on stream for money? Let's think. Fate Go. All right, I'm down with that. I'm down for Fate Go. How about Girls Frontline? Okay, Girls Front. Azur Lane. We can do Azur Lane sponsorships. World of Warship sponsorships. World of Tanks sponsorships. That other boat game. I can't remember what it is, but there's another boat game. And that other tank game. World of Tanks. War Thunder. Yeah, War Thunder. That one. Yeah, I'll do it all. I will do all the ad reads. Just pay me money and I will do the ad reads. I've told people this right from the get-go. I'm a ruthless person. Like, if someone's like, I'm gonna pay you money to shill Raid Shadow Legends, I'm like, well. Let's see, so how do we want to do this? We don't really need, if we put, actually no, we do Struggle of War. Kind of like these nomadic mercenaries. Grand Campaign is more personal. Struggle of the War. So yeah, as you can kind of see, I'm just kind of reorganizing my notes a little bit. Don't need that anymore. So put that right there. Everyone is trying to escape from something. Okay. So our most basic idea is what we're going to get across right now is we want to kind of formalize the system a little bit. Now, one of the big things is because we're going to be doing card manipulation, like I've just dedicated myself to that. We're doing cards now, everybody. We're going to need to do, first things first, I believe attributes would be most appropriate, just to kind of get like the most basic rundown. Which, luckily enough, what we can tie we can pretty much tie all 4 attributes to a card suit. That's the most simple thing to do. That's the easy answer. It's the very easy answer. $5 to read out the stupid. Well, if you give it to me on my Ko-fi page, everybody. Yeah, I'll do it. Easy. Make sure to hit that sub button. Give me your Prime subscription, gamers. I'm horrible. I'm a horrible human being, but I've embraced that. So again, the easy answer for just the attributes would be something along the like. Again, we have hearts, spades, clubs, and diamonds. Probably the easiest to do in the top of my head would be something like body, charisma, intelligence. So body and charisma, intelligence, and I guess like spirit. Something similar to that. This would be the easiest answer. However, what we can do, we can be a little bit more wonky about things. Because overall, you could associate that most cards out of the 52 card deck, we are going to have at the end, we're going to have multiple different kinds of cards. 1 through pretty much it would be 2 through 9, no, 2 through 10, and then our Jack, Queen, and King. Now, we also have the ace for each one, so if I want to be a little bit more wonky about things, what we can do is, we have our basic attributes, which are going to be more kind of tied to like the royal attribute, which is like, you can apply any royal card to this because it's kind of like whatever that is. It's how important you are. We can also tie it to the, we can then do the suit attributes, which would be ×4 of those, and then we could probably do something like an ace attribute, which is you can just use aces or jokers on it. I will say I'm going to commit to the jokers because I think jokers are fun. Everyone likes jokers. I think sticking with 4. See, what I can do is stick with the 4 attributes, but actually we go with 5 attributes. Okay, because again, we have to think dramatic. We have to think overly large and something very pulpy. That's one thing we're going to have to aim for. We want pulpy attributes because we're effectively going to be playing in a watercolor painting. That's going to be kind of what the setting is going to be more than anything, a watercolor painting. So pulpy attributes would be something, so let's see, we have our hearts, diamonds, spades and clubs. Hearts immediate, like, what is Tokyo? Tokyo Nova stats. So technically, if we're going under Tokyo Nova logic, yeah, because if under Tokyo Nova logic, because Tokyo Nova's weird, spade equals reason, club equal passion, heart equal life, which is kind of like your strength, but also not your strength, and diamond equal mundaneness. We want to go a little bit simpler with that. We can probably keep it in the idea of general notability guidelines. Fuck you. Tokyo Nova's great. I love Tokyo Nova. I think it's a cool game. Doesn't get as much love. I'm actually very surprised. Here's the thing. I'm actually very surprised that Tokyo Nova never got a formal release. Or is... I have a fork here. Is there a fork here? Okay, so let me think. Welcome to me just having to grind this shit out. Heart being body, because that makes sense. You know, heart is your body, is your life, is your, you know, kind of like how grandiose you are. Actually, what we can probably do, if we tie that, if we think that heart is body, that's your beating heart, that's your lifeblood, that's your, kind of your, you know, kind of how big and imposing you are. Or we can do it down like the more lines of like, let's actually think. Let me do Franco-Belgian inspired TTRPGs. All right, so there's obviously a few of them. You know, Troubleshooters was like the one that kind of popped up immediately. Because this is one of the, you know, this is like, oh, this is directly inspired by Franco-Belgian comics. Not exactly our own. What's the system? It is D100 game. That doesn't really help. Let me think. What am I really looking at here? What am I really thinking? Well, I mean, we can do, if we go under this, we use diamond to be more like hello. If we do diamond to be more charisma, it's your sparkling spot. If you're, it's your sparkle pretty much, and being like, hello everybody, it's me, wink. If we apply spades, I have spades. Let's think. My body, you know, I have my body, you know, how strong I am, I have how personable I am. What is this about? Songs of the White Carnation. Song of the White Carnations is a RPG inspired by Corto Maltese, and it is also a armored riverboat combat adventure game. An episodic RPG, mostly inspired by Italian comics and Franco-Belgian ones. The basic concept is pretty simple. You've entered, effectively, the Spanish Civil War, but it's kind of like a nation of rivers, and you're flowing down the river. You know, righting wrongs, helping people out, going on going under mysterious adventures before leaving and going to the next location. The main issue is that you are running away from something. You always have something, the reason you must continue, and anytime you stay, you better have a good reason to, or it's not really going to play out very well for you. You need continue going. You always need to have the forward momentum Because the second you stop, well, whatever you're running away from is going to catch up to you, whether you like it or not. I would say it would be a somber game more than anything. Not really sad. It would just be one of, yeah, this is a terrible war going on, but it is the last romantic war. It is the last romantic conflict. Let me just bash my microphone real fast. And it's this kind of very dramatic, very sad, but it's pulpy in its own way. Yeah, you're gonna be punching fascists in the fucking noggin, but you're gonna be. It's like, yeah, I'm doing this not because like I'm a good person, but because I need money, kind of thing. Actually, if we change diamond to romance, if we really want to be. Now, if I really want to be fucking pretentious about this, is we tie it to literature genres. So Heart would be like an action book. That's you opening it up and that's you being excited. Like, yeah, I have a 2d6 and I'm going to be rolling my action anytime I'm doing something very forward, very bodily, something very action oriented. I jump up and I punch the guy in the throat, or I run up and I bash the guy in the noggin or whatever. That's what it is. However, if I have a high romance score, I'm a very, talkative person. I'm like, hello everybody, it's romance. Generic and daring kind of thing. Actually, we can do clubs. We can tie to mystery, which is the idea of like you're constantly searching for something, you're thinking about things, you're being very dramatic about it. Or that ties spades more. If we think mystery, like a mystery thing is like you're trying to find something out, that's kind of like your reason score, that's kind of your kind of investigative score. We tie it to there. So action, romance, mystery. Actually, no. We change diamond to drama. So action, drama, mystery. I feel like I've done a game like this before. I had something where I've used these stats before. Because I feel like I have. Something. Like I could have swore I've used these stats before. Is it Okasan? No, that's clearly not. That's. Was it Satan? No, it was Satan wore snakeskin. Yeah, it would have to be Satan wore snakeskin because that was the entire idea, because it was their experiences. Action, comedy, drama, mystery, romance. This one has a very different tone to it. Systems is because the deck is the same number of each suit. It implies 4 should have. Well, here's the thing. Here's how I'm going to be doing it, as you can kind of see here. Is the main core resolution, the main active like core resolution mechanic is going to be 2d6 plus whatever your plus whatever your stat is, plus a skill. It's going to have a 2d6 as being a fairly standard version of doing things. That's the idea. However, what I want to do is at the start of the adventure, at the start of the episode, effectively, you're going to get pulled out a handful of cards. Those handful of cards are going to be kind of like your trump cards in a way. You can be like, okay, so I'm looking at my hand right here and being like, okay, I'm doing a big action check. I'm jumping through here. I gotta hit someone with my gun. I can put down my 6 of hearts. I'm going to get a +6 to it. because that is it. I've spent the card. It's in the pot now. This is, you know, it's in there. I don't have that access to anymore, but I was able to use a +6. However, if I use like a Joker, I'm able to just crit automatically. Like something happens before I do anything. Put the Joker down. It's going to be a critical success or a critical failure. Or I put down like a 2 or, you know, a 2 of hearts or something. It's like, that's what I'm kind of using the cards as. Like they're a indirect meta currency that you can use to augment your, you know, kind of augment the drama a little bit, with the idea that the archetypes and their abilities are going to be mostly tied to the concept of abusing them in different ways. So it's like, okay, well, I can use a 6 for hearts. However, since I have, you know, I'm a, you know, swarthy gentleman or whatever, I can now use my hearts for drama checks. Or because I'm this heavily intelligent individual, if I use a King of Diamonds, which is normally associated with drama, I can do something with my mystery instead. That's kind of the concept. These are a bonus, not anything more, not the main resolution mechanic. So if like you're not doing too hot, if you're like, hey, you know, well, I have a 6 in my hearts, but my action really sucks. And it's like, that's good though, because you're now able to kind of supplement yourself when you shouldn't. Like, I need to make this action check. Well, you're going to use this card to do it. Or you may be like, man, I have a really high score in action, but I have like I have a bunch of these heart cards. Then start doing more things in action. That'd be a little bit more difficult. You know, like, well, because you can supplement it a lot easier. Kind of playing on that like more dramatic and you know, more dramatic angle. Because if we go with action drama, what would be clubs? What would be a genre, a kind of a novel genre, or a this sounds kind of funny, you know, stupid, but just something like detective, mystery stories, humor stories, speech, tall tales, tragedies, romanticism. What am I really thinking of here? What is in my brain case? If we're using the idea of action as being like you're very, you know, up in people's faces, you're very big. Drama is kind of like your charisma. Mystery is kind of your intelligence. What would clubs be? What would clubs be? I guess you would do a little, no, like, would you tie a mystery with that? Would you, what am I really thinking of here? What am I, because I want to tie, again, this is a very dramatic work. This is supposed to be a very drama focused. Paranoid fiction, religious satire. Urban, fiction genres, action adventures, comedies, speculative. Well, if we change the name to the idea of like, we have academic, but we change that to like thrill. No, that doesn't work. What am I missing here? I know I'm missing something for these fucking attributes, and the second I get it, I'll be fine. So let's see, reason, passion, life, mundaneness, that's life. This is kind of passion, this is reason, this is, what do you do for mundaneness, though? What am I thinking of here? You think I would have this set up? I had this, like, this is going to be a perfect idea. This is going to work just fine. And I can't for the life of me think of anything now. If I want to. What I can do is then more associate this with the other side and make this like a dual charisma thing. Being like, this is clearly against people you don't much care for. This is against people you do care about. Something that's a little bit more strange. But, like, Scheiße. Well, I mean, I'll tie these together for now. We go under this idea, so we have our 4 core attributes, which I'm just going to call Club X for now. We can then tie these all to some basic, basic score. I don't want the scores to be high, so if we aim for like an average score of like hello phone, a score to like, let's say like 1 to like 3. 1 to 5. We'll say about 1 to 5, and that's just kind of how much you exemplify a very certain aspect of a character. How much you are of this. How dramatic are you? How mysterious are you? How action-oriented are you? If you want to be a cool gunman, you're going to have really high action, but you might have some mystery to you. You might have some drama to you. You might have some what? What? That's the issue. What is that? What is that 4th one? So yeah, if we average our scores about 1 to 5, this is going to pretty much mean that, like, actually, what we can do, average our scores from about 0 to 5. Like, you're going to end up in the middle here, most likely, like 2, 3 at most. So it's going to be like, okay, I need to make an action check. So we're making a 2d6 plus 2, and I rolled a fuck all, is what I rolled. I rolled a 6. So if we use the fairly traditional 2d6 method, that means our target number should be around, like an easy target number should be 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. These would be our standard target numbers. However, because we're bumping them up a little bit, you're going to have some skills. So you probably can look about like something more along the lines there. So it's like 2d6 plus, 2d6 plus 3. And cool, that's a little bit more easy to accomplish something that's a little bit more present. So if we average attribute score. Now if I want to be, how do I want to do this? I know, Pat, what are we doing tonight? We are working on Song of the White Carnations. Mostly, I'm trying to get, kind of hammer out this concept a little bit more. Currently stuck on this attribute here and just doing all the little maths behind things, which I can see in my head how it works. So again, 2d6 is not very complicated, but the major issue when it comes to 2d6 really does spring from the fact that it's 2d6 and you only have 2 to 12 to really work with range. Your randomization comes from these more than anything. You don't actually have that much to really play around with. So when it comes to skills, on the other hand, what we can do is maybe make a list of skills. I'm feeling a list of skills, just like a very basic rundown of like driving and things like that. Half of me wants to make it something really simple and like, if you have a skill, you double your attribute or something. If you have a skill in something, why don't you ever make a system that only uses 2 dice? It would be the interlock system. Let's see. Blood, Coin, and Steel uses just 2d6. Let's see. Cruelty Squad technically only uses 1 die, but that's a little bit wonky, and that's how it does it. Eagles and Rifles uses that. Let's see. I believe, not Endless Adventure, that's a dice ladder system. Forgotten Chronicles is d20 based. That's diceless, that's d20 based. Let's see. Hearts of Darkness, I know, is actually just based off the interlock system, like straight up just is the interlock system. Let's see. Let me think at the top of my head. Iron Caskets is interlock as well, but we don't say that it's interlock. Shh. Yeah, I have a few that I've used that system with before. I've done it before, but you've done it before, I don't want to do it again. So I like doing weird things, and I haven't used cards at all. None of these games actually use cards in any capacity, except technically, Hearts of Darkness does use them, actually. But it's kind of in its own way and can be actually pretty easily ignored. You just want to ignore it. So yeah, that's kind of the reason why, because I've done it already. Let's think. We do a list of skills. Let's say we have 12 skills. 12 skills, and that would mean 3 for each. Now, there's 2 ways to do skills in this kind of game, how I want to do it. Either we go under the very simple method, which is, let's say for example, shooting. If I have the skill of shooting, I'm going to double all of my action, to pretty much double any roll involving shooting. So instead of rolling 2d6 plus 3, I'm going to be rolling 2d6 plus 6. It's by virtue of having that skill, I'm doubling my attribute for it. This does mean that skills that like, oh hey, I want to use shooting for mystery, and I only have a 1 in mystery, I'm doubling it to 2. Or if I want to use 0 and I have a skill in something, it's still going to be 0. That's the one issue there. We can do it in the idea of, you have a skill X and there's like a flat bonus. That's it. Like, you have it or you don't have it. Like, a flat bonus would be like, you get a +5 to whatever the roll is. Like, you are able to pull off some more impressive things by virtue of having this skill. Because you have the shooting skill, you get a +5 to whatever it is. So let's say my action is 3. It's going to be 2d6 plus 8 because I just have this flat bonus to it. Which allows me to pull off much more impressive feats. Or we do the kind of the flat version. So let's say I have like a shooting. It would be like shooting at shooting 3, which would be I add +3 to whatever it is. Those are the 3 methods. I'm feeling, again, I want to keep this really light and really tight, if that makes... I rolled a shoot the mystery. Really light and really tight. I am going to jail for that comment. Guys, I put Rebecca in the video because that's what the SEO wants. What am I thinking of? What am I thinking of? Can something be simultaneous? Can something simultaneously be crunchy and light at the same time? To a degree, because my biggest citation for that, the biggest one that says like this, it is entirely possible, is Phoenix Command. Because Phoenix Command has an entire dedicated system. Recommend more card art TRPGs. There aren't really any. Tokyo Nova is really the only one that I know of, and a few westerns that one of you uses fucking poker dice. So it's like, it's not really a thing. But in Phoenix Command, there's an entire system dedicated to getting shot in your kneecap. There is an entire like series of pages dedicated to getting shot. However, the game does quite literally tell you, for everything else that is not a gun combat, just roll some dice and maybe do something. I don't fucking know. Like, it has zero rules for anything else. That is that's a kind of the epitome of very crunchy but very light. It's easy to assign it as like a binary, like you are crunchy or you are light, but it's a little bit more complicated with that, which is again one of the reasons why I cite KNS, my KNS theory more than anything, because that effectively does say you can have multiple different things in a single project. It's more mechanics focused than project focused. This one I'm deliberately aiming to not really be simulationist or anything like that. It's supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be about a little bit more narrative. Okay, here's the idea. We go with this. We use flat skills. We use the concept of flat skills. Again, this is just, you have it, you're going to just double any roll involving that skill. However, what we can do then is we remove the number of skills. We don't have a list of skills though. And we don't have a list of skills, and we instead tie it to, I wouldn't say necessarily custom skills, but like, here are like a shit ton of example skills, and it's things like art. Can I post the links in chat? I think you can. Don't link it to porn, but we tie it to things such as, hey, shooting is a skill, fighting is like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work. Big list of skills. Big list of skills from my big list of skills. That could work. So, I mean, if we look at about... So if we tie it to about, you know, let's aim for like 20 plus skills. Just the idea of like, there's a lot of different little skills that you can use to play around with. And each of them are going to just give you a flat bonus or a flat bonus to your attribute more than anything. So someone with shooting who's not very good at shooting, you know, who naturally is not someone suited for shooting, probably isn't going to be very good. C22, I have heard of this. He's in the other server, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I believe he's in the other server. Did he ever finish this? I think he did. Yeah, this guy was in the other server. Yeah, I know this. Yeah, Brandon. Gutowski. Yeah, I've spoken to this guy. This guy follows me on Twitter, I think. I want to check my phone finally before my mother calls. because she's probably panicking or she's not doing too hot. She's actually not feeling too good today. Give me a moment. Alright, back to the grindstone. Back to the grind. The cyber grind. So, what am I thinking of? What am I... We want these to be relatively... Let's think about the archetypes. Maybe that can give us a better idea for our various skills, our various attributes anyway. So our basic archetypes. Let's think about our archetypes real fast. So obviously we're going to have the soldier, which is going to be exactly the way you fucking think he's going to be, because he is going to be our gun mix shoot man. The investigator, the soldier, the investigator, the captain. What would be another good one? Pretty much the vagabond, let's see, soldier, investigator, captain, vagabond. I'm googling fucking character archetypes because it's just very simple to do, and you can usually just steal shit that people have already come up with. The hero. Do. You do the now mind you, these names are subject to change. Let's see, so the soldier, the investigator, the captain, the vagabond, the poet, the hero, the criminal, the jester. What would be another one? It would be so like the idea is that like you can have like multiple of different archetypes. Like you can kind of have different archetypes per character. So it'd be less like, let's just use an example of, John, we'll use John, not John White. We need something more dramatic. What's a suitably dramatic Spanish name? We'll use an Italian name generator. Give me a dramatic man, please. Actually, even a dramatic woman. I don't really care. Marcello Venezia. We'll use Marcello Venezia here Marcello here might be, you know, just the Vagabond, but there can be multiple different kinds of Vagabonds. It's kind of encouraged that you don't have a similar archetypes, but it's like, yeah, it's like you're a Vagabond, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's like, this isn't necessarily a class, this is just something that you do. So the Vagabond might have the ability to like swap cards with somebody. So it might be the idea of being like, okay, I got my 5 cards, you have your 5 cards, and I look at my hand, and I'm like, man, this hand sucks. Like, hey, I'm gonna, like, I will trade you this card for another card. Like, give me one of your other cards, and be like, oh, okay. Then they hand you a 5 of hearts for a 2, you know, for a 2 or something. Or, hey, you know, you look at your hand and you're like, okay, I have a king of diamonds. I don't need a king of diamonds. Does anybody have a spades? And somebody else is like, okay, I have a 10 of spades. I'll swap you for the king of diamond. And you're like, okay, now one character's got the king of diamonds, and now you have a 10 of spades. The Vagabond's idea being that he's supposed to be, he kind of leans on others just as much as he's kind of helping others. And that's kind of the idea. That's just a very basic, similar example on top of my head. You know, the captain might be, you know, the captain might have the ability with, you know, you have 2 sets of hands, and the captain might be like, okay, you've used 2 cards already. The captain says, okay, draw one back into your hand. That's his thing. That's his archetype ability, is that he can allow everybody to draw a card right back into their hand from anywhere in the discard pile. So it'd be like, yeah, okay, so we're in dire straits right now, but our captain's gonna keep us, you know, up and running. Oh ho ho, kind of thing. How would you feel in Cyberpunk, instead of adding up each bonus to 1 die roll, you roll a dice for every stat? It's kind of an odd one, but I mean, I guess, sure. Yeah, Marcello, Prospero. I mean, yeah, we can use Prospero. Why not? Prospero Venezia. So, but if, like, say, for example, he is the poet. You know, the poet's entire thing is that he's entirely reliant on other people. You have your hand, he has his hand, but he's like, okay, you've used this, I'm going to use my ability, you're not going to use it. Or he's like, hey, for a better story, you can take one of my cards. Because that's one of his big ideas, that he wants to hand people cards. Well, someone like the soldier is going to be almost entirely dependent on, anytime I'm in a fight, I can use all of my cards. I want to get into fights because that's who I am. I'm a soldier, I'm a fighter, I'm someone who burns himself out far quicker. Again, the entire idea behind this is everybody is running away from something. You know, actually, it wouldn't even be called the investigator. I guess the investigator would work. That's kind of a null one, but it would be kind of along the idea of like someone looking for something. Actually, no, we can, you know, soldier, the seeker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which one feels out of place? All of these work pretty well, which pretty much the jester is going to be the meme option, because it's like, okay, if you have a joker in your hand, they pretty much, like, they will always have a joker in their hand. That's just going to be the jester's thing. It's just like, regardless of it, anytime a joker is played, the jester will have a joker. First thing he gets, beginning of every session, is he is handed one of the 2 jokers. And he can freely use that joker whenever he wants. Because the jester's entire thing is that he wants big excitement to happen. Okay, for the best example, if you're going to use 3-step skills like your dexterity, then your gun skill, then your parkour skill to run along the wall. So what you're implying is more along the lines of like 1 die, like you would add a die for each one. Like, okay, that, I mean, yeah, I guess, it'd be a little bit weird, but I've seen it before. Can I tell you where? No, but I definitely have seen that before. I will say that will invite everybody power gaming, though. I will say that right fucking now. That actually reminds me a bit of Tokyo Nova in a way. Not a lot, but it does remind me a bit of it. So, yeah, I think having 8 archetypes, people are going to switch around. You're going to have an average party of 4. Okay. Actually, I should do, Survival. The poet wants to. The criminal could probably get shifted around. So yeah, so there's the basic idea. The Seeker wants to find things out. He's being able to take other people's discarded cards. Billy's more like passive, so we tie the ability to the archetype. Half of me wants to do that, the other half of me does not, and just use it like maybe like, I wouldn't call them traits, but I want to call them, what would you call these? What would you call like a sub archetype, really? Like works? Talents. Use talents. Talents equal dice. Would be either dice / card / result manipulation. Which should be, this should be fairly easy to do because a lot of talents are really going to boil down to if you do X, then Y. If it's like, oh, if you use a queen, you know, it's like, oh, if you use a numbered card of hearts, you can double the result once a session kind of thing because you are talented in it. And that's your thing. I mean, a bitch to write, but yeah, Richard Garfield is like the guy who invented like most of the popular big card games these days, but the problem is Richard Garfield also has the unfortunate reality of making MTG and ruining everything for everybody. See, if I want to be a little bit... If I want to be a little bit snarky about things, I could say heart is adventure while clubs is combat. So the idea would be, it's a very different reality of being in a gunfight. It's not necessarily you being cool or anything, it's just you being a violent person. If you are a violent person, you're going to be rolling clubs, but you don't want to roll clubs all the time. Because you're usually only going to have about a combat a session. If you think about it, it's like you might not even have any combat. Just the same as like you might not have any mystery or you might not have any drama. Yeah, okay, I think that works. It's not perfect, but it should work. I don't know how I want to call combat. Yeah, these names are a little bit up in the air currently, but they should work for what I'm doing right now. So we use this. Going down here, our basic stats, our basic talents. Let's take about... Using a very basic concept, like we're going to have about maybe like 4 players, let's say like 25 talents. 25 talents, yeah, these talents are probably going to be one of the last things actually covered, because they are going to have to rely a lot on elsewhere. Use the idea of like, you go up here. Hmm. Anyway, that could work. Perhaps tie the riverboat to the nature of the campaign, with the idea of if you select a certain kind of riverboat, it's kind of signaling to the GM being like, these guys want more relaxed paced, or these guys want more like riverboat combat stuff. They want more action, they want more violence, they want more things to kind of escalate in that way. If you take a small riverboat with nobody, like it's just your people on it, it's like, yeah, you might have a gun on it, but you aren't really going to get into those bigger fights. But if you take a really big one, there might be different crew members, there might be different people, and it's always kind of leading up to these bigger, like, riverboat encounters where it's like, yeah, here's our combat boat versus your combat boat as we start to beat the shit out of one another. All right. So I'm feeling good here. I think this is going to work. It's not going to be complicated. Not going to be a big game. No. But yeah, he's a TCG autist. Try to make it a touch more realistic. Like, I get what you're trying to propose here, Solid. But here's the thing. The problem is, people are going to want to combo all those abilities together. You must always remember, people will try to optimize the fun out of anything. And because people will try to optimize the fun out of literally anything you do, if you introduce a mechanic where it's like you string things together, people will always find a way to get the maximum out. That's why if you occasionally listen to me when I talk about things being like of values and things like that, people will look for things that are overvaluable. If there's a game where, damage is really high, health becomes a lot less valuable. No, it's not bookkeeping necessarily. Not bookkeeping, but I will propose a situation to you. Let's say our game is very, very deadly. I mean, 1 or 2 shots, you're going to die. And the way they do it is by virtue of everyone has very low health. Very small amount of health. That's the meat. That's the scary. However, here's the issue. If you have 2 abilities, let's say there's 2 abilities. Let's say one ability grants you bonus damage, and another ability grants you bonus health. The valuation of those are very different. Bonus damage means I kill you faster. Bonus health means I survive longer. However, if I already die in 1 hit, and increasing my health a little bit doesn't prevent me from just dying in 1 hit, health becomes a lot less valuable. It becomes you want to avoid damage. You want to kill them before they kill you kind of thing. Cyberpunk, the actual game itself, is actually very problematic with this a lot of the time, where you end up with things like the Sandy, for example. That's a good example. The Sandy, all that does in the game is actually grant you a +2 initiative. Very few things actually do that, though. But here's the catch. That is a game where the first shot that goes off is usually the lethal shot. So having just a little bit more of advantage on your initiative is actually very valuable. Because if you're able to go first, that means you're able to bring your gun up first and shoot them first. And whoever, again, gets that first shot off is usually going to win. However, let's do another thing. Another example. Let's say you don't die very quickly. Let's say you have a medium life expectancy in combat. Now, there's 2 things here. You can either increase your health slightly, increase your health or increase your damage slightly. In this situation where people are doing, kind of moderate amount of damage, but you can still survive a few hits, your health actually has a lot more value. Because instead of taking 5 hits and going down, you might be able to take 6 hits and go down. Which just means you're able to outlast. That's why you usually end up with things like armor is always a bitch. Armor is always a bitch in games. Because, fun fact about armor is lowering damage is always better in most cases. One of the main reasons that like D&D, for example, doesn't actually use like DR, even though people are like, well, it should be damage reduction, The main reason is because the optimal solution is just damage reduction then. Because if someone does only 2d6 damage, oh wow, 2d6 damage can be very lowered if you have 5 DR, for example, with a breastplate. Where it's like, yeah, cool, you do d6 plus 3 damage. Cool, there's like, pretty much a 1/3 chance they don't do any damage to you with DR5. So it's like, that would just be the optimal solution. Valuations. But it kind of leads into its own series of conundrums with that. What if instead of armored riverboats, they were armored cyborgs? Instead of pilots, they were brains? No. That was like the one thing that kind of surprised me. Out of all those example games I made, Panzermana was the one that people were like, I love Panzermana, you should adapt this. I love Panzermana, you should do this. And I'm like, I knew that name was amazing. I knew it. Actually, that reminds me, I should add the... Go. Okay. So if we use this as kind of like our basic concept, I think this should work relatively well. By an injury system, I actually have this pretty laid out. Is like, so let me, it would be something along the line of like a... There we go. So it's kind of like the idea of like how I picture the health system going. This is the... Oh, right there. Oh. But my idea here for like the overdamage is, say for example, I have 5 health. If I take 7 damage, it rolls over, and I still next time I'm going to have 5 health. However, I'm going to take an injury. And that injury will probably just be like a superficial one, where it's I took damage, like I've clearly taken an injury, but it's not really that serious. I've been scraped, I've been hurt. The bullet whizzes past my head, so I'm a little bit shook in that regard. Nothing much. When I take a light injury is like when you first start seeing like some actual damage get registered. It's, the bullet grazed me. The knife cut a little deeper this time. My rib is cracked. Not broken, but it's like I'm clearly not doing good. Heavy wounds are like, the knife has gone into my leg. The bullet has, scraped a lot, has taken like a clear, like, oof, ow, my leg, or oof, ow, my arm. There's clearly like a bullet wound. I have a bullet wound now. And I'm going to need to get treated for this. While a mortal wound is I have been shot in the gut. I have been stabbed in the gut. Like, clearly something bad, but if, like, you have all your superficials, you're always going to go to your light. You have all your light, going to your heavy, always going to go up. You take an excessive amount of damage, that means you're going to go straight into your health. You're going to just die immediately. I mean, if you get shot by a fucking cannon, you're going to die. Meat Wagon was cool. Meat Wagon was kind of the first idea. Here's a little thing with the four game. Technically, there were supposed to be 5. Meat Wagon was the first idea that I had, but the basic concept was, it's like, here's a cyberpunk game, but you are not really a traditional punk. You aren't because if you look at all 4 of those games, including the 5th one, is that none of them are the traditional punk types. Nothing about them are ever really traditional, because there's always something a little bit wrong about each one than what we normally associate with cyberpunk. And Trauma Team is, you are assholes. You're dedicated to be kind of dicks to people because you're not doing things like, yeah, we're going to fight the man. No, not really. You're just guys in a meat wagon picking people up. It's, hey, this guy's bleeding to death on the ground. We need to perform fucking field surgery on him or he is going to die. Like, how's this cyberpunk? That was just my job. Yeah, no, and it's kind of like, okay, we're being shot at by a bunch of cyber psychos. We're trying to treat this person literally on the ground. What do you do? When do you find, it's like one of those situations where you do a quick scan of their body, being like, oh fuck, this person doesn't have insurance. Good luck, everybody, and then you leave. It's like, that would be kind of the idea behind it. This isn't really punky. Not punky at all. Which then goes over to, then the next one was Courier Blue. Courier Blue is, you aren't cool. You're not really supposed to have like a bunch of cybernetics or anything. Yeah, where it's like, yeah, you aren't bottom of the totem pole. You aren't a cyberpunk yet. You're the asshole who delivers things to the cyberpunks. And it's like, it's not really about doing anything, super cool. You're not supposed to fight the cops or anything. You deliver guns. You have a backpack full of organs. Get the fuck across town. You are transporting explosives. Get across town. That's what your job is. You aren't cool. You are bottom of the barrel. You're a punk. Panzermano was the weird one. And that was part of what people got a little bit weird. It's like, yeah, you are effectively a cyber psycho. You are going full cyber psycho quickly, but you're going to die. Because that was my favorite part of playing a juicer in Rifts. For those who don't know, in Rifts, there is a character in OCC, an occupational character class, called juicers. And juicers have this complicated rig set up on their back, pumping them full of combat drugs 24/7, bunch of implants. But the thing is, there comes a point where there's the point of no return, where you can no longer... Notepad talks about Rifts, episode 120, yeah, pretty much. Where you can no longer go on. You have to take the drugs. If you try to disconnect it, it's done. I loved playing juicers because you had that finality to things. You had this idea of dying, but you were okay with it because you chose to become a juicer. It was always the big thing. You always had to choose to become a juicer. And, kind of that burnout section was really sad near the end. They had the Juicer Uprising book, was an amazing read. Just because it shows, like, these are what really desperate people do. And the answer is they go full on because they know they don't have a future. So Panzermana was all about, what do you do with these jacked up death cyborgs who damn well know they don't have a future? Like, there's no tomorrow, really. It's we live now and maybe we'll make it. Maybe. It would be, then we had, TBH, I might be a juicer IRL. It's an interesting read. Honestly, a Juicer Uprising is really fucking sad. Like, because the entire idea of the Juicer Uprising is the coalition pretty much brings a bunch of juicers back home, being like, we're going to give you a job with the intent to kill them. And then the juicers are like, oh fuck, we don't want to die, so they go full on. But that's when you start seeing some of the really weirder juicers start taking hold. And god, that's when you get that's where you get fuck side juicers. Fuck side juicers, man. Fuck those guys. Yeah, no, and it's an interesting kind of thing when you think about juicers. That's why I always like them. I like them a lot more than psychos. Fuck psychos. The last one, Backwood Jackals. Backwood Jackals was entirely based on following the letter of the word in my definition. Because if you paid attention, the definition I used for cyberpunk was very much where the basic definition was cyberpunk and high speed, low life would be high tech, low life, with that kind of just the merging of the two, which is cyber is information technology. The second one was all about more punk was just a derogatory term for useless people, and then combining those two together, Backwood Jackal was just that. It was people living on the edge. It was the trash cities. It was people who aren't part of the city. No one liked that one as much. The fifth one that didn't make it, unfortunately, was called Brainjack, and Brainjack is all about you all playing a group, pretty much a hacker collective, with the problem being, with the kind of the problem of Brainjack being is you are permanently kind of hooked up to these machines. You got the A-Link, which is actually from the book I wrote. You are going 120%. You're super cool. You can deep dive and you do all the cool things. The problem being, major problem, is you are really useless outside of cyberspace. You aren't really going on those big ass cool missions. You're almost entirely in VR. You don't really know any of your other people outside their VR avatars. There's that disconnect. And that would be kind of the main thing with Brainjack. That was kind of the issue with that particular one. Let's see. Solid ask a few questions. They want to be better with two different types of defense types. Or most of the time it flex or eats damage until it starts falling apart. Ninja, or the guy takes 20 matrix dodge, almost anything. Yeah, like anytime you have matrix dodging versus ultimate, survival, people will 95% of the time go survival. It's consistency wins always. Psychos are your borderland psychos. Psychos and Rifts are interesting because what happens is they have special brain implants that make them go insane. They hate juicers, and juicers hate them, and they hate juicers. The thing with psychos is that they get really strong and they're super, big and whatever. The issue with psychos that I hate is that they're just stupid. I don't like them. I think they're all dumb. Juicers have a lot more dramatic story arcs than they do. And it's like, oh, because if you play Juicer, you gotta deal with fucking psychos all the goddamn time. Ugh. Any chance any of them will make it? Probably not. Psychos are Bane, kind of. Not quite. They are their own weird thing. They're not cool like Bane. Honestly, if you want Bane, that's just a juicer. That's a really burnt the fuck out juicer. Is Bane. Like, that is, like, God, what were they called? Hercules? Hercules juicers, too? Oh, fuck Hercules juicers, man. Those guys are so jacked up on shit. It's like, ugh. Psychos, let me bring up, like, a Rift Psycho real fast, because Rift Psychos are interesting. You can really tell, like, here's the juicer. Everyone likes the juicer. Crazies, that's what they're not, psychos. You can see how much I literally give a shit about them that I keep forgetting their fucking name. Yeah, this is the signature crazy. Yeah, they have these brain implants. The idea being like the brain implants fucks with them and make them stronger. I always hated them because every single person I played with that played a crazy was a fucking moron. Was just a complete fucking goblinoid. Similar to Glitter Boys. Hated all of them. That's just Polnareff. But mind you, then you have... Yeah, this is Juicer Uprising. Fucking hell. Like, Juicers were always cool to me. Like, these are like some of like the most basic ones you get a hold of. Like this is the first image really you see of Juicers, and it's like, hell yeah, gamers. Here's Hercules Juicers. Fucking Hercules Juicers. They get fucking... The thing with them is that they get supernatural strength right off the bat. They not only get supernatural strength, but all of their melee attacks count as MDC. So you can technically punch God to death with them. It's really dumb. Also, only correct way to deal with crazies. Shooting them. God, they're so cool. I don't think you guys quite realize that, like... Not munchkins, they were just annoying. Fuck you and your glitter boys. Every glitter boy I played with was an autist who killed himself, or us. It's... I like the issue with it's like playing a Malkavian with crazies. That's the thing. It's like playing a Malkavian. It's very easy to become a fish malk with a crazy, to the point where it's like, oh, I have multiple personalities, or oh, I'm schizophrenic. Ha ha ha. It's like, oh, shut the fuck up. Favorite riffs class that is not Juicer. Oh god, that's a tough one. If you had to put a gun to my head, Vagabond's fun. From the core, I'll use the core book. Vagabond can be fun if you're playing a certain kind of campaign. You just get a shit ton of skills. Rogue Scientist is fun if you're playing that. Though my absolute like baller one that I enjoyed playing, didn't get to play him too much, but I loved playing him a lot, was full conversion Borg. Yeah, full conversion. Because you pretty much have barely any meat left in your body, and you can play them a lot of different ways, and it's like, oh yeah, of course I want to, you know, become bigger. I want to get more abilities and shit. You just become better. It's great. Because that's what Kevin likes to draw. Because you got to remember, Kevin does a lot of the artwork in riffs. Like, that's what he does. That's what he likes doing. Is that he's an artist. And that's what he likes drawing. He likes drawing big robots. He likes drawing fantasy creatures, usually fighting big robots. And gigantic, over-detailed guns. I don't think he did like the Red Borg art. You can usually tell his style. He has a very distinctive style. He usually does a lot of the black and white stuff, and not any of the colored stuff. That's a very different person. I can't remember. He's in like 95% of fucking Palladium's books. I like big robots and I cannot lie. Damn straight. Okay, so let's keep going. Back on track a little bit. Things are looking pretty good here. I'm pretty confident this is going to be simple enough to pull off. It's going to be mostly, I should say, this is going to be mostly trying to like keep everything together. Equipment's going to be really light. Yeah, this is not going to be a complicated game. This is going to be a very simple one, but it's mostly going to be about that narrative, about that adventure going on. Well, we can also tie it right here with the idea that everybody is always trying to escape something, hence because you're a nomadic mercenary. But if we go here to the nation's character, the struggle of the war. However, we're going to have our two sides. We're going to have, if I get rid of, now we're going to have, I'm going to give them like a very simple name for now. They will most likely change, but we're going to have the Republicans, and we're going to have the Nationalists and the Republicans, because this is still going to be based heavily off the Spanish Civil War, so may as well go 100% on it. How hard it is to run Rifts out of curiosity? Rifts full on is a bit complicated. The issue with it is that there has never been a second edition, really, of Rifts. If you go from Rifts, first edition, not really first edition, but if you go with Rifts Ultimate Edition, there's a lot of rules in there, but the basic concept of the game isn't really hard. It's just that Rifts is laid out horrifically. I do genuinely mean terribly. I will be the first one to tell anybody, Kevin cannot lay out books. They are all almost universally terrible. Mostly because Kevin has a very bad time of putting everything he wants at random points. There is no explanation for half of it, and there just simply is. The big thing with Rifts is once you kind of get the idea, how do I want to word this? You want to, with Rifts, find the way that works for you and immediately go for it. Everybody runs Rifts slightly different, and that's, I think, how Kevin wants it. But at the end of the day, it's a D20, the D20 system, but also a D100. It's a D2000 system. Why do you think I named mine the way I did? Kevin is highly talented laying out Thai lady boys. We don't know what the hell happened there. All I'm saying is Kevin's a weird dude. Kevin lost his life savings like twice. Because he invested everything in fucking Robotech figures. And then someone stole the Robotech figures. Yeah, we don't talk about that part of Kevin. Or like how Kevin was at a con and then put like a shit ton of money. Pretty much Kevin he went to a con and sold a shit ton of books and made bank. And he put it all in a fucking jar and then someone stole the jar. This is a legitimate thing that happened to Palladium. Multiple times. Like, if you ever get curious, if you look at the Heroes of the Multiverse book, most of the characters in there are characters from other people's campaigns that had to effectively buy into it or donate to Palladium to be in. Like, I knew one of the guys who was a hero who is in the Heroes of the Multiverse because he gave Kevin like hundreds of dollars to keep Palladium alive. I will always give Palladium they still are pumping out shit. What was the latest Rifts book? Rifter is still coming out of Rifts books. That's why I always find it I find it really difficult at points to really catch up with it, because usually it's one game, Global Impact one game system. Let's see, Rifter. Rifts the movie. Yep, licensing a new market one game system. Let me see if coming of Rifts, all of these. Yeah. Let's see the most latest world books. These are usually what you would call the expansion books. They're the last one that came out was Rifts Sovietsky. This came out, when did this one come out? World Book 36. When did this one come out? Tell me world, when did this come out? World 2019. Yeah, 2019 is when this came out. Let's see. 9 new LOCs, new skill packages, Spent NAS Special Forces, the new KGB, 11 unique cyborgs, new biotics, all the heavy machine, everything revisited, new combat troop vehicle, tank, aircraft, body armor, grenade, tank shells, bunker creation tables, invasion, which is a brand new thing of demons and werewolf, Russian DBs like Wolverine people. Literally 224 pages. We've actually talked about Matthew Orr, by the way, and Brandon Aten. We've talked about these two before. They have their own games, so they're not very good. Yeah, there's literally a new one coming out here soon as well, which is Antarctica. Yeah, you want to have Rift's Book 37, fucking Antarctica? Or here's just the fucking Rifter. Rifter 84. When did the Rifter 84 come out? Tell me more about the Rifter 84, Mr. Man. When did the... Oh, it came out 2 years ago? Yeah, that's cool. Hey, Palladium, what was the latest book you came out with? What's the latest book? Let's actually see it. I just want to see the latest. And he never lowers the price on fucking anything. It's great. I love it. Yeah, welcome to just Palladium in general. Riffs. Coalition Manhunters source book. When did this come out? This was added a few months ago. Here's a big source book. That's not, mind you, a world book. It's a source book, which is different. The big thing is you don't follow all the lore, you find the things that you like and go with it. It's like, you can, like, some of the world books are completely disconnected from everything else. And, like, there are entire world books dedicated to things that are, like, just disconnected and, like, nobody gives a shit about. Like, you find the thing that you like and just do stuff on it. Or, like, it's like, hey, we're in North America, you're probably going to reference a lot of the coalition state stuff. You're going to be talking a lot more about, oh, we want to set things during the Juicer Uprising. You're going to be doing stuff during the Juicer Uprising. It's one of those things, like, you pick and choose kind of what you want to work with. But Kevin really does give, like, he cares about every single thing he puts out. Which is something I find very nice. Like, Kevin's a big thinker guy, and like, even like, oh well, we're interested in a movie, we're interested in video games, because the only Rift's video game, mind you, which is impossible to actually find, and one day I will find it. If I can ever find it, I will play it on fucking stream, rest assured, is a fucking Nokia N-Gage. Yes, because Aaron Tarn, his fucking wife, has had a Nokia phone forever. That is what she has. She has a hyper-advanced Nokia. Why? Because that's what he likes. Play a Rift's video game. Like, the only one out there is really, the only Rift's game is, again, Promise of Power, which is on the, it's like a weird strategy RPG, and it looks pretty cool, don't get me wrong, but it's like, Kevin, you have so much, and I've always wondered, like, why people haven't really, you know, hopped on a little bit more, because I'm making a wild guess that probably some indie studios would kill to have some of the shit Rift's do, but I have a strange feeling that Kevin has probably gotten approached by like these smaller companies being like, we will do a Rift's game. We will do this. We will do this. And he said, no, I want EA to do it. Yes, but can you download an emulator for it? If you can find me the emulator that works nicely, then I can work with it. That's always the thing I always found difficult, was the emulator for the Nokia emulator. Unless they fixed it. I haven't looked in forever, mind you. But like, I would say the biggest issue with like Rifts is I think Kevin wants big. He doesn't want just any company to do it. No, he wants a big company to do it. He wants an important company to adapt his baby, even though arguably I think he should go to Games Workshop route and being like, you can do whatever the fuck you want, we just get a small cut. I think it would work pretty well, because there's a lot you can do with Rifts. Like, I don't think people quite realize that sometimes. Like, you can do an entire RTS of just the Coalition Wars. You can do an entire fucking RPG, like CRPG, of just doing shit in a single location. There's an entire game and a half of talking about fucking vampire kingdoms. There's like 19 different games in Russia you can do, because Russia is all fucking cyborgs. God help us all if you go to anywhere close to Africa. Holy shit. Like, there's a lot. I think like I don't know if they've ever updated Germany really at all, or like Europe, because Europe is weird. Never liked Europe. I never liked the Europe source books. Never was interested in it. He never touched Arabia, I don't think. That was one thing he never touched on. Well, get on it. Oh god, I can't do that. Again, I've told people this. If I ever had like the actual thing to do to make a video game, I can rest assured it would not be anything. It would be adapting one of my own games. It would probably be very simple. Probably be some budget Fire Emblem game. Because that's how I roll. So, let's see. The Nationalists. The Nationalists are obviously going to have... Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm going to be referencing Hearts of Iron 4 here real fast. And I'm doing this in a very specific reason, because I want to make sure I'm getting all the names correct. Give you the idea of how much... There's a lot of Spanish Civil War, unfortunately. Let's do both of these. I need you to be broken up into 2 things. Because technically... Because in the Spanish Civil War, in Hearts of Iron, you can have the anarchists, you can have the communists, you can have the Republicans, you can have the Carlists, which are the best faction to play, even though they kind of suck halfway through. I like them though. You can have anarchists, communists, Republicans, Carlists. You can then have the... I can't remember what they're fucking called though. What are they called? Phalangists, that's it. And then you can have the Phalangists. These are technically the 5 factions that you can have. So we are going to kind of be adapting these slightly. So the Nationalist Front. Oh, neat. There is an emulator. Yeah, learn something new every day. I'll have to check. See if it doesn't give me a fucking virus. Because, like, one of the weird things about the Spanish Civil War is you have the Carlists who are like, we want to restore the monarchy. These guys are effectively the monarchists for a... Anytime I joke about radical anarcho-monarchism, I'm really referencing the Carlists. Because the Carlists at this point, just to give you an idea of what I mean by this, were trying to put in a king that had no claim to it, but possibly maybe had a claim to it. If you think about it, not really. They were monarchists fighting for a monarchy that didn't exist. That's why he's fucking they're fucking hysterical. I think the Carlists are hilarious because of that. And why do you think I always have the Carlist beret? Yeah, if you ever want to know where this beret actually came, like if you look at me and you see this beret, this actually came from a Carlist painting. I put that shit on everything. So we break this down into, see, the phalangists were like the most like, they were military guys who were also very fascist. This is where Francisco, no, fuck, what's his, I'm having a stroke, God help, what am I thinking of? What's his, Franco, that's it. I was like, who the fuck am I thinking of? Yeah, that's where Franco was technically part of these guys, but he was also kind of his own thing. It's very odd with Franco's an interesting character. Like, if you ever want to get just an interesting dude, just Franco by himself is such a weird person. He's like, yes, I'm fascist. Be like, okay, you're fascist. You're going to help us in World War II, right? Yeah, about that. No. Franco kept saying, like, nah, don't feel like helping, like, multiple times. I always find it hilarious. And he was supposed to restore the monarchy, he just didn't. So the anarchists are pretty simple, so they're just going to be the anarchists. The communists are going to be, what would you... Communists are simple enough, but it wouldn't be the communists. What would you call it? It would be the, I need a Spanish name. We want to go to English to Spanish. Frente Popular de Libération, the FPL. The FPL people, and then we going to have the Republicans. Which this is going to be the Republican Free Army, which are kind of, see, and then we're going to have the what would you call the like upper people, like the people in the like Spanish. Anarchism in Spain. This was the CNT, Confederate National Confederation of Labor. So this would be the National. I'm just butchering Spanish, by the way. This is just going to be me butchering Spanish. I hope you all are ready. I'm not going to be doing this much, but I need to just like get some of the most basic concepts down. GLN, Republican Free Army, and then we're going to have kind of like the Communards. I'm here, bro. Yeah, it's like Republicano Libertad. Fuck does that mean? Yeah, no, it's pretty much like one of the ideas is that, divide this in half just so people, is that the Republicans have the kind of like their historical problem. They're not going to be called the Republicans, by the way. I just using that as a, I'm using that as kind of like a better, just kind of a way to get it across a little bit easier. But the idea behind the Republicans in White Carnation is that they are objectively kind of the good guys. Like, yeah, we're the people who want to stop the fascists, we're the people who want to do this. The problem is that they are completely divided, they have no resources, and are generally kind of a bunch of fucking idiots. Because not only do you have the communists and anarchists who don't like each other, but kind of undermining the actual kind of the free army, kind of like the generic soldier, you could say. You also have the people on top, which I don't quite know how I want to call them. You know, pretty much it's like the old government. I don't know how you would, I don't know how I would word it very well, but it's kind of the idea of being like, hey, we're part of the Republican Free Army. We're a brave and, noble people. We fight for, liberty and all that shit. But it's also like, well, our bosses are incompetent. They are trying to leave already. They're taking money out. They have already fucked off. They gave all our money to the Soviets, effectively. When we call the Soviets, I need to come up with a weirder name for them. But it's like, oh shit. Union Labor Nationale, the ULN. Yeah, I'm down for that. So it's more like, how would you word that, Draco? I mean, well, give me some ideas here. It's kind of the idea of like, these were the old, this was the old government that is like clearly kind of given up and are already leaving. It's like, yeah, this is the like, oh fuck, like kind of the old guard. They are very disorganized up top, and that's kind of bleeding into things being very disorganized on the ground. Hence why you guys are so like the actual like characters, these wandering mercenaries are both really accepted in their ranks as well as kind of mistrusted as well, because the upper people don't like you on either side. That's the problem. They are people fighting for, they're kind of doing their own thing. That's kind of the issue. So I shouldn't actually, we can do this, we just call it the old government. So it's like the anarchists, like, are the anarchists good or bad? We don't really know. Are the communists good or bad? We don't know. Republican Free Army is kind of like the objective good. Like, we can kind of give these guys like, because what's going to happen, and how I want things to play out in this game, is you get into a location and you're kind of having the struggles between the two sides, which you can kind of get involved in, but there's something going on in the heart of things. And that's where that's where you guys kind of come in. You land at this port, this little city. People are kind of hungry, people are desperate, and the problem is they've been under siege. No one can bring in food to where it should be because they get ambushed. The only reason you guys kind of got in was because you don't have any food. You guys are kind of coming in from the wrong area. Or, hey, actually, here's a better example, being like, you've come to the city, it's been kind of under siege for a while, nothing's really coming in, nothing's really coming out, nobody really knows what's going on, but you land there and you've noticed it's whoever the fascists are fighting in the streets against the old, the Free Army, and the Free Army's fucking collapsing. Like, fuck. But you may have just the Free Army, or you may have the communists fighting you may have the communists, but they're fighting kind of the knights. They're kind of fighting each other there, but you're dealing with something else. You're dealing with, hey, a bunch of bandits stole all the food, and we need you to get it. Or, hey, these people desperately need medicine. Can you pretty much make a run and steal medicine back from both sides? Because they're both stealing the medicine. So it's like, okay, you're doing things to help other people. You've entered into a location, and you're here to help them, or you're here to do something to get money, or you're here to help others. Generally, you're trying to be a good person. You're not really on either side. But if you want to help one side and kind of hurt the other, you can. Which is the reason, like, anytime you encounter these guys, it's like, yeah, they are the objective good. I should say, like, objectively good, but being kind of led to extremes. Or they kind of gave up. The communists are, the problem is that they are communists. What would you call like the, I can't believe it's not the Soviets. What would you call them? Let's see, is there like alternate, what would, like a fictional Soviets, fictional communist countries. Loudland. People's Republic of... What the fuck is this? Glorious Aristotska. What is the full name of Aristotska? There isn't really any. I don't. Yeah, there isn't a full name, is there? Nope. This Aristotska. Ministry of Admission, MOA. God. I really liked Papers, Please. Let's see, Papers, Please. Yeah, no, alternate, like, dream fiction. What the fuck is the dream fiction wiki anyway? Let's look at the dream collection of fiction pieces that you are making. What? Fiction pieces are donated to the public and hoping one day will become a reality. Please remember that all your contributions will be used by others. Please remember to follow the rules. Man, an encyclopedia of user-designed fiction. This isn't even alt history stuff. This is literally just literally a wiki of people writing things. What is fake countries, mass media created by its users, create fictional universes. So it's literally a wiki of fake countries. Wait a second. Dream Fiction Wiki started an affiliate program with Fic Creation, a wiki created by Utwar's friend Gingo for the win. However, it was formally announced later the first affiliate. It got mixed reception, mainly due to Gingo for the win's history of making pornographic imagery involving underage or underage-looking characters. What the fuck? All right, now learn from his mistakes. This caused short drama. Another person remained undisclosed who has taken part in the activity. According to few people, however, sources remain unverified. War has not bothered to ask for proof. Romations, August 2000, the Great Dream Purge. This in itself. the fuck? Oh my, yeah, no, this is what it is. This is what this wiki is, by the way. Is a wiki for things that don't exist. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, here, welcome to Drillmation Studios. Drillmation Studios doesn't exist. Okay, fine, fuck it. You're going to look at, and there are only 3 active. No. As someone who enjoys stories, I find it kind of interesting that everyone enjoys being a revolutionist, but no one ever wants to talk about when a revolution becomes a tyranny. Here's the thing. People love underdog stories. People love revolutionary stories. Nobody is going to say, man, I really want to shoot the revolutionaries. Nobody ever really wants to say that. That's not, that nobody likes that. Everyone wants to rise up against tyranny. That's, you know, fucking number one. That's like one of the most primal stories you can ever tell. Hey, we, you know, all the way back from Unk and Dunk, you know, fucking Ugg rose against the evil, you know, guy who didn't know what he was doing, and he became the good guy. That's just one of the most universal stories of all time. People love that. It's things never are simple though. Glorious revolutions are very uncommon, and it's nobody wants to talk about that kind of stuff because that's not fun. You know, that's not a good story. Cute and funny wiki, huh? Yeah, cute and funny wiki. Let's take. What am I really looking for here? I am looking for an alternate, working with the United Soviet Socialist Republics. See, unfortunately, just the USSR is the greatest name available. Actually, no, we can do the Union of Socialist. God damn it, God damn it, Lenin, you son of a bitch, you fucked it up. No one can ever write anything else for your alternate Russia. What would be a good alternate, like, actually, no, we'll all right, new idea. Alternate names for Russia. There we go. Alternate names for Russia. Aha. Actually, so that's like the CSSR, the Caspian, the CFSR doesn't roll off the tongue as well. God damn it. So if we go with the CFSR, which would be the Caspian Federal Socialist Republic. Yeah. I mean, we can do the United Federal, so the UFSR. Yeah, the UFSR, United Federal Socialist Republic. That's ominous sounding. Union of Revolutionary, URSS. God, that's. Yeah, I guess we go with the URSS, which is the Union of Revolutionary Socialist. Socialist states. There we go. With the URSS. ZN. Let's see. Then we have the Republican. Let's see. The anarchists. So yeah, you might end up in a situation like, oh, well, the anarchists are stealing from the communists and they're about to fight. Like, oh, well, guys, please stop fighting. We need to deal with the guys who are clearly evil. Being like, nah. Was the old government monarchist or Republican? They would be, the old government would be like the second Spanish, would be the third Spanish Republic. Yeah, it would be the Second Spanish Republic government. Pretty much like that's kind of the idea, is like they were the Second Spanish Republic, and it was pretty much under Azana. Welcome to Manuel Azana, otherwise known as the saddest man. Yeah, it would be kind of the idea of like, these guys are clearly given up. Like they've lost before they've even begun. And that's kind of the problem they have, is they're this old republic and they've kind of just surrendered. What's the main difference between the first and the second? You mean the First Republic and the Second Republic? The First Republic was way back in the day. Then there was let me see if I can bring up the First Republic. The First Spanish Republic was actually during 1873, and subsequently fucking ended in 1874. Like, yeah, there was this is kind of weird for people who aren't in Europe and things like that. Like, technically France is on its like what? This is the Fourth Republic. Yeah, there we go. The Fifth Republic. Technically, France is in its Fifth Republic. That's its formal kind of definition, is the Fifth Republic. And it's a little bit hectic, not going to lie. You kind of see all the various people who are in charge, and Charles de Gaulle. Now we have Macron. It's like, yeah, one of the big ideas behind a lot of like European things, what would happen is Napoleon, and you can blame Napoleon for many things, is that he would establish like a republic or something, and that would be usually the First Republic, and then it would collapse and revert back to monarchy, or revert back, and then it would be the Second Republic. This happened like 4 fucking times in France, for various reasons. The Fifth Republic came about because de Gaulle literally reformed the government. Because Charles de Gaulle he himself was an interesting dude. And that's kind of like one of the big things with the Second Republic was the Second Republic of Spain was very weak. But Spain had never really had a strong government, unfortunately. That's one of the biggest issues with Spain, is like it has not had a strong government historically. And after about 1800, and it's like, oh god, like, yeah, people get really pissed and things die. I think people over there calling for the Sixth Republic. Yeah, it's people want to restore, like, people want to do like their own version of the government, and technically they would have the right to do such. It would be the Sixth Republic, and it's a mess. Like, it genuinely is a mess. I think Coalition Republicana I think that would work. I think that fits a little bit better. There we go. So the coalition of, Republican coalition would be like, yeah, we're the Republican coalition, but it's like they're really bad at leading, but they're the ones in charge. It's the idea of being like, the Republican Free Army isn't in charge at all. It's these guys who the communists don't like, and the anarchists really do not like. But we're working together when you clearly fucking aren't. Like, god damn it, the anarchists are ruining everything. But it's like, I want you to be like, if you hold sympathies for the anarchists, that's fine. If you want to work with the anarchists and do their own thing, that's perfectly, a valid option for you. These are kind of the more morally, I wouldn't say morally gray options, but more along the idea of like, these are the more morally complicated ones. The Republican Free Army, and that's not like their official name anyway, that's just like the very brief explanation of people fighting, the standard person fighting for their, the Republic, effectively. Yeah. These guys are like, well, we're kind of working with you, we're kind of not working with you because we're a very weak government, and it's like, oh, damn it. Where like the thing is, like, for the players, is what I would assume is that most people aren't really going to like the anarchists. Some people might not like the communists very much, but like everybody likes the guys on the guy, like we're fighting for freedom, we're fighting for democracy, we're fighting to stop the fascists. But you get like, they don't have ammo for guns, they don't have tools of war, they are clearly outgunned, outmanned, and are going to lose. Unless you step in, unless you try to help. Which is the Coalition Republicana, is like, yeah, these guys are kind of the head guys, but they're clearly taking their shit and leaving, kind of thing. Like, the Republicans are very divided, but they are very, kind of in the, if you want to sign as anarchist, you are seen, you are valid, and you are probably going to get set up against a wall. However, these guys are going to be, you want to come up with a very nice, if you want to come up with a cool name for just the military, which is the idea of like, what would be a good, it wouldn't be the Carlists, because the entire reason the Carlists got their name, like, Carlism is funny. Just, they want to restore the House of Bourbon, but then the Bourbon wasn't like a big thing. There's been like 17 fucking different Spanish civil wars because of them. It's great. Carlissimo. Yeah, the Carlists, actually, this is the exact painting where I got my hat from. My ancestor. Not even Spanish, I just like the hat. Yeah, you kind of see all there. This was, where was he? These are the Carlist claimants. Where was the one in, is it Alfonso? No, it was it was Jamie was a big one, then Alfonso was the big one. Alfonso was the one that people mostly try to fight for during the Second World War, which failed hilariously because he's not, Prince Javier. Like, technically Javier was supposed to be like the king, but like you gotta remember, at this point, things like Alfonso weren't like legally ever supposed to be there. You kind of see this is Javier, yeah. This fucking bike stiffer, I love him. The Duke of Parma. Technically, they were supposed to be that, but they just never went anywhere. Yeah, they're still Carlist, because like, what happened was there was the line of Bourbon, and then there was the other line that's the currently in power. Yeah, like they're still a Spanish monarchy. Like people, it's one of those things. Like it's like this. We don't hear about the Spanish monarchy like at all. But like the current Spanish monarch is Felipe VI. And he's fully here. He is descended from Isabella and Ferdinand II of Aragon. Like, technically, you know, Juan Carlos turns this dictator to democracy. Technically, people were like, we want to get rid of him, but he was like, no, let's keep it. Yeah, and he's been relatively popular. Like, the king has been relatively popular in Spain. Yeah, like, here's the king of Spain. It's still around. Technically, he is in NATO and all that stuff. I believe they wanted, like, Harry. They wanted Harry to marry a Spanish princess. I remember that. No, it was a Swedish princess. That was it. Because there's also Swedish. There's like, I don't think people realize how many different monarchies there are in Europe sometimes. I don't think people quite understand it. Like, there's so fucking many fucking monarchies. It's great. It's great. If you ever want to hear a funny story from me, back in college, I knew 5 Spanish guys. And one was a full-on communist, and I do mean full-on communist. One was a full-on anarchist. One was a dedicated, full-on hardcore Republican, but he was a Catalonian Republican. Therefore, he hated the Spanish. He hated the Spanish. He wanted Catalonia to be free. I knew an unironic fascist. Like, he was an unironic fascist. He full-on Franco fan, 110%. And the other guy was Spanish, could not speak English at all. He was from Morocco, but he was like, I'm Spanish, a proud Spanish man, because he was from like North Morocco. And it was like, yep, welcome to, this is Spain. All good friends, by the way, which I thought was hysterical. Abraham Linkler. Or these the yeah, like I knew a bunch of random people. Like, fucking fascists would always be funny because it would be like midway through a decent conversation, you'd be just like, let me tell you about why I fucking hate that. You'd be like, no. Let's think. What'd be a good name for like, these are the kind of the unironic monarchists. What would be a good, like, No, we want to do, Spanish monarchs. No, shut up, Felipe of Spain. What's the Spanish monarchs? Hence, then we have the various houses of Habsburg, including Charles II. The most incestuous of Habsburgs. Archduke Charles of Austria, Philip VII, Ferdinand VII, Charles. House of Bonaparte, House of Bourbon, House of Savoy, House of Bourbon again. Then we have the House of Bourbon 2. What would be a good, like, Kings of Visigoth, Kings of Navarre, just to piss everybody off. House of Jimenez, House of Champagne, and Capet Dynasty, of Albret. Transmara, Ever, Champanists, Jimenez, the Jimenez dynasty. Leon, let's try Leon, Vagabond, Aragonese, Jimenez, Barcelona, Catalan Civil War of Castile, Habsburg. Habsburg, we love the Habsburgs. Leonese, Australianese, the Jimenez, Burgundy. If you can't tell, by the way, there are a lot of different times, but everything usually ends up with the Habsburgs. Thanks. Again, yeah, it's Mussolini. Mussolini, if you actually like read Mussolini's fascism, it's like, if you ever want to really fuck with communists, I mean like unironic communists, you just start listing off Mussolini's points, and if they agree with you, you can legally call them a fascist, because Mussolini's fascism is very derived from socialism. There's a reason it's called a national socialism. Vote blue no matter what. Yeah. He was. It's the thing with Mussolini. Completely deep, you know, fucking off track, but I need to think of something. Actually, that's a very funny thing I can do. The one weird thing with Mussolini was that he was originally a socialist, but his big issue was, how do I want to word this? How do I want to word this properly? Mussolini said, fuck workers of the world, go workers of Italy. And the Italian Socialist Party, and at the time kind of the Italian Communist Party, didn't like that very much, because it was like, we're the socialists of the world and all that jazz. You can argue that fascism is the third way. A lot of people is the third way, but it's kind of more of an off-split of socialism, where it's more of a nationalistic version of socialism. We fight for the workers of our place. We fight for the Italians and Italians only. Because Mussolini's stance on, like, when Hitler was like, give us your Jews, he was like, no, they're Italians, fuck you. You know, Italians first, Italians. The issue, though, that Mussolini had most of the time inside of his own country was that one of the main issues that Mussolini had at the time was that North Italy and Southern Italy are very different places, and they didn't like each other at all. And you had years of kind of people not liking one another. You had kind of more internal struggles, internal problems. That didn't really work. And that was like one of the main issues of his fascism, was that it was North Italian fascism more than Southern Italian fascism. That was completely different, and they fucking hated it. You know, it's like, that was like one of the big ideas behind it. It's very fascinating. What ideology do I follow if I don't care about my countrymen, just want to go live in the woods? Welcome to being ANCAP, baby. I do what I feel like. Again, and here's the big thing. If anybody ever asks you, remember this, everybody. If anyone ever asks you, what is your political ideology? What is yours? Tell me now. You say, verbatim, I am a radical anarcho-monarchist with syndicalist Mormon values with pan-Slavic perceptions. Everybody will be confused as shit of what you just said and walk away. Like, and if anybody is intelligent, mind you, if anyone can think for more than 5 seconds, what you're clearly saying is nonsense. And you look at it, you're like, okay, you're clearly you're being facetious. I get what you're saying here. Okay, I won't ask. If they're fucking stupid, they'll take you seriously. In which case, you are now a radical anarcho-monarchist, and anybody else can tell it's something stupid. It's skin color will... Fucking, okay, here's another fucking detox. Sorry, Twitch, I'm sorry. One of the big things about racism is that racism has been one of the most common things in the world. We have hated each other for as long as physical time. You know those guys over there? Fuck those guys. They fly the wrong flag. Hey, look over there, guys. Fuck those people. Fuck you. You're over there. You're wrong. What you need to do at the end of the day is you need to find something that differentiates you. The British Isles have been killing each other for years, decades. The fucking Welsh, fuck the Welsh, kill all the Welsh people. Oh, the fucking Scottish, kill all the Scottish people. Oh, the fucking Irish, well, let's just go start killing Irish people. Fuck Irish, fuck the Irish. They've been trying to kill each other for years. Yeah, it's like Northern Indians, Southern Indians, they're completely fucking different. Even in China, when you get like the Mandarin and the Cantonese and different locations, same fucking thing. Japan, we like to think that like Japan's pretty like ethnically like similar, but there's like an entire like, they have like an entire like subsection of people who dislike because they're not the right kind of people. People will figure out racism somehow. However, it's very immediate and obvious to a lot of people saying like, oh, well, your skin color is black and I'm white, therefore this. Most like when people are really talking about like, oh, well, you're black, therefore you're dumb or whatever. That's usually spawning from like Europeans way back in the day when they were like, yes, we are so intelligent, we're civilized, we're great. But it's just like, hey, Mr. German, what do you think about the French? Those subhumans, those goblinoids, cheese-eating monsters are nothing more than a blight upon the land. Then you go to a Frenchman being like, oh, hello, what do you think about the German people? Be like, oh, those coal-eating monsters are little more than rabble and vermin. Same shit. It's like, oh, yes, us Europeans are so much more intelligent and so much better. Literally, it was a cock-stroking technique. The people over there, oh, they're lesser than us. Like we can take these people as slaves. They're lesser than us. We can also make a shit ton of money off of it, but we need to justify it to people. And that's kind of the problem. That's kind of the more amusing aspect of the entire thing, is there was literally a justification for money. Being like, it was a justification for people to make fat fucking stacks and to like justify it to stupid people, like kind of the lower class of like, oh no, we're not harvesting, we're not like getting people and putting them on ships to work plantations. No, that's morally horrible. We're getting subhumans to do it. Very different. And it's like, but no. And it's like, there's like, yeah, it's like, well, shit. And even if you look down at like European history, that's like a big thing. And why do you think the Yugoslavian conflict broke out? People like to believe people don't think about like Yugoslavia, because Yugoslavia only broke apart about 30 years ago, really. If you really, actually not even 30 years, about 25 years, let's say about 25 years ago, roughly. It's been a while, hasn't it? But like, that was because the Croats hated the Serbs hated the fucking Bosnians, the Bosnians hated everybody, and it was the Croat and the Serbs hated the Croats, and everyone started shooting at each other. It wasn't skin color, it never is about skin color. Here in the US, we like to make it about skin color because that's really easy. But have you ever heard people talk about the fucking Californians before? Have you ever heard people talk about those stupid fucking morons from the flyover states? Well, yeah, it's the same shit when it comes to like gang wars, for example. Gang wars, like gangs in general, are actually very fascinating. Because in like the reason a lot of gangs formed You really go back in time, or really go back in history, gangs formed as local protection rackets, and those protection rackets were legitimate. The fucking London bobbies weren't going to come into your shitty side of the neighborhood. They weren't going to do it. You're the wrong people. So we hire, there's a bunch of guys here who offer protection money, and we hand them a few dollars, we give them some money every week to make sure that if some dumbass throws a brick through our window, that dumbass gets both of his legs broken. It's kind of more legitimate. And in the US, it was the same thing. No fucking white cop was going to enter a black neighborhood. That's where all the wrong people live. So you get a gang going up, and it's like everybody is very, like we're working together. It's local. If you really look at it, like the early gangs, that they were very local, and they actually were doing some good, because it was like, yeah, we're a group of people, and we're giving these people purpose, rather than just like, if the cops tried to start shit, we had an actual kind of like, people could communicate a lot faster with each other. The problem was, well, mostly coke, but the problem was, it's a lot easier to capitalize off things, and the second that money starts coming in, not like greedy people start taking over. And it's like, well, we want more money, and nobody wants to give up power. That's the big thing. First thing first, nobody wants to give up fucking power. And because nobody wants to give up power, and no one wants to give up the wealth, people started getting a little bit more violent, and then things like drugs started getting pushed in. And when the drugs started getting pushed in, it was like, well, we can make a shit ton of money, but to do that, it sucks. Like, yeah, traveling in general, you do get introduced to a lot more people, but you learn that people are people. I think that's the unfortunate thing that, like, nobody really wants to admit. The most human experience is mutual disdain toward other people. Like, how many, like, honest to God, like, really gregarious people have you met? Probably not a lot. When you go to the convenience store, you're gonna buy your thing. They look at you. It's not like, oh, you're the wrong person. No, it's like, cool, that'll be $5.70. Yep, okay, $5.77. Swipe your card. Oh, not working. Okay, put the card in. Once you put the card in again, okay, swipe the card. That's it, really. It's people. And that's, once you realize people are people, things get a lot simpler in life. I love meeting friendly weirdos. Yeah, pretty much. And like, you encounter strange people all across the world. And again, it's fine, it's odd, because even like my server, for example, I comment every now and again, like, I have a fucking diversity rainbow. Like, in my fucking server, like, we have a full assortment of fuck ups and strangers in my place, and I find that very valuable. And one of the reasons I really don't want anyone, I get a little bit sad anytime someone leaves. It's like, because I enjoy our little community. I was wondering if a weeb travels to Japan is going to be super weeb or not. Depends where you go, really, in Japan. Because, again, people don't realize that in Japan, people are fucking racist. People fucking... The Japanese people do not. The Japanese do not like other people. And the Japanese don't like other people. They don't like, and it's like, I have been, like, I got told I remember this. I was talking with some guy who went to Japan for a while. I pretty much got told that I would be fucked in Japan. They probably wouldn't serve me. They probably wouldn't do anything, because I'm 6'2". I'm a big motherfucker. I don't have the right face. I look mean, and I'm a genuinely, like, kind of how I look. I am not the right look for Japan. But here's the thing, I know people who move there always talk about how many people don't like the Gaijin. Well, I think one of the other big thing, too, is that there are a lot of people who move to Japan and then start organizations there of like, oh, well, we want to change things in Japan. That's why it's like, and it's like, what the fuck? No, like, don't, like, there was one I remember, it was like, oh, well, we're pushing to have things removed because we don't like it. We're like, like, we're a dysphoria group. It's just like, why? That's kind of weird. And that's why Ken, what's his fucking name, the guy who wrote Love Hina, he actually got elected into government. That guy's effectively said, fuck foreigners, fuck you guys, we're doing our own thing. We want to increase our sales, we don't want to give a shit about anyone else. And I'm like, cool, like, shine on, man, that's pretty neat. Yeah, and it's like, honestly, if I went to go on is, like, if I were to go to, like, Japan, like, I would be, like, very, like, zen about it. I would probably end up, like, not being in Tokyo very long. I would probably head up to Hokkaido, because Hokkaido looks fucking beautiful. And it's a dumb thing to say, but I've always wanted to go to Hokkaido because of Golden Kamui. Literally, that's the only reason. Yeah, Japan actually has a very strong relationship with Brazil. Can I ask why? There's literally a historical reason, mind you, of why Japan and Brazil have a very strong relation with each other. Because in, like, the largest the largest community of Japanese people not in Japan is in Brazil. Hokkaido waifu manga. Golden Kamui, thank you very much. No, it's not the Hokkaido waifu manga. Very different. It's yeah, it would be Hokkaido and stuff. Like, honestly, what I would want to do is I would want to go with a friend of mine, and she is big into, the artwork and stuff like that. She would know what to fucking do there. I think she would appreciate it more than me at the end of the day. Oh, Hokkaido gals are super adorable. That one, read that one. Know what you're talking about. Only I find it's kind of interesting and fascinating to the point where spaghetti started hitting the wall with all the wars in China. Yeah, no, it's like Japanese history at some points can be described as we killed each other for a while and be like, fuck Korea. Like, oh no. Yeah, the fact that Koreans still fucking hate the Japanese. Mwah. Beautiful. Yeah, no, like, Japan would be a very nice place to visit. I would like to visit Japan. But mind you, I'm also the kind of person who wants, again, by the time I die, there's 3 trips I want to do. 3 big trips. 1, I want to go to Japan. I want to go up and down the country on the trains. I just want to do stuff there. I want to visit the shrines and shit. I want to do the whole thing. Because I find Japan fascinating. I find it a very interesting place. And will I be going there to steal all the books and steal all their RPGs? Damn straight I will be. And I will personally deck Ryu Kami to give him my, to steal his ideas. I will eat at the Ryutama Cafe kind of thing. Like, that's like would be a thing. Like, I want to go to the Ryutama Cafe and eat there and buy the official Ryutama ramen bowl just to say I have. Because that would be fun to me. That would be interesting to me. I would like that. I would like to do the Notepad's big Eastern European adventure, which I just go down Eastern Europe and drink as much as physically possible. Start in, like, Lithuania and just go down all throughout, kind of in Russia a little bit, Belarus, go all the way, Poland and all that shit. All of it, just drinking. Fly out of fucking Athens, just drunk as shit, not know where my name is. It'll be great. The final big trip I would actually like to go is I would love to visit Riyadh. The actual, Saudi Arabian's capital. I would love to visit Riyadh. Because I've always been fascinated in Arab history, in Arab culture. It's very cool to me. I know I would probably... it's stupid to say, however, it's like, that's be like my one thing. Nomad's true dream is Gen Con to accept his lifetime achievement award. Honestly, if someone fucking was like, oh, here's your good job, Notepad, here's your lifetime achievement award, and be like, wow, thank you so much, everybody. Wow. I'd first off like to thank all my fans. I'd like to thank the consortium. I'd like to thank all the plutocrats who armed me. And a final note to everybody, I fucking hate all of you. You're all goblins. I despise all of you. I hope you all die in a fire. And then proceed to like throw the award at someone and then run off. Like a fucking mobility scooter at that point, you know? But it'd just be like, fuck all of you. I hate all of you. I will see you all in hell. I am the cancer. Alphonsists. Actually, we want to do Where would be like Countess to Marquis Leventos, Marquis Teres, Cantanca, Marquis. Good. Oh, everyone goes to Gen Con as a Discord field trip. Has to accept his lifetime achievement award for Guy. Yeah, that would be the ultimate joke. Not the Alphonsus. What's a good fucking name that really like the Carlists? You know, like okay, we've got that. What's a good last strong family name? Good strong family name to be like, yes, this is the person who I can. Also, you can just put Ists the Mendozans. That would be funny. Vidalists, Osorions. Cutona, Tucuparania. I know. The The Velascoists. The Velascoist sounds fucking terrible. Yeah, then you have the Fitz-James Stewart. Yeah. The House of Fitz-James, the first Duke of Berwick. Don't forget, it's also Spanish nobility because they fucking, God, sad. Lancaster, yeah. The House of Lancaster technically holds territory in Spain, of all fucking places. What am I thinking of? Kings of Castile. Basically, Jimenez of Ivrea. Same house. Then we have the Habsburg. Well, hi, hello Habsburgs. We meet again. Ennio. The Enniists. The Enniists would be the fucking the Martellists. Ah, fuck it. No, actually, no. Martellists would work. If we go with the Martellists, fighting for the Side of you are two Greeks. Alfonso Martelli? That sounds Spanish, right? That sounds Spanish? Draco, please. Oh no. Yeah, so I mean, if we go under the idea, Martelli. Better French, yeah. How would you Martellia? I'm trying to think of what would be a good Spanish last name. I'm trying to find what would be the ideal one if we want to do a parallel to the Carlists. Martellios or Martellias? I mean, what would be a good I guess we can do Ivrea would be Ivrea would be one. Let me guess. It's gonna be the fucking Asturian king, the Visigothics. Let me guess. Is it going to be? Oh, yep. It's fucking Jimenez again. Then we have the Burgundians, Portuguese. Yeah, Bourbon. See, this is one of those always one of those complicated aspects where you end up in a situation where it's yeah, no, this is cool and all. However, it's also just the Habsburgs show up and then everything goes wrong. Wow, thanks. That's so cool. Yeah, it's Habsburgs, everyone. Yay! Welcome to the fucking Habsburgs. Have you ever gone to a convention before? Yes, multiple times. Moreno Moranists. Mino Vivar. Rodrigo Diaz. Jimeno. I don't know what you're talking about. It's Jimeno. Canists. Welcome to naming. I fucking hate names. Fucking. I guess having it as being kind of a Spanish name, being kind of French, because I like the Martellists. I think we'll stick with that. Martellius. Alfonso Martello. Actually, no, we'll do Martello. Jimenez. Right monarch for the right for the Prince Alfonso Martello. Martello. Let's see. Monarchs for the rights of the Prince Alfonso Martello, the exiled king. I should say King Martello. A noble and brave, but foolish. Actually, if we want to do a terrible literary reference. Don Carlos. What was his full fucking name? What was Don Quixote's full name? Alonso Quintana. Nada. Okay. Okay, we can do so instead of the Martellists, we do Keanu. And then we do a Kieda. We're gonna learn to pronounce this, everybody. Okay, we're not one because it's a terrible name and I can't pronounce it. If I cannot pronounce it, we're not doing it. Keanists. It's a fucking obscure reference. Well, it's not obscure, really. Yeah, I guess that would be Kisada then. Kisada? Kisada? Yeah, it'd be Kisada. I'm probably mispronouncing it horribly. Quijada. So it's Kiada, and that would be Kisada then. Kisada. So this would be Kisada. So it would be the Kisadists. Alfonso Kisada. Kisata. Yeah, if we do this one, if the if we use this version right here, it'd be Kisata. If I'm doing this right, Kisada. The other one, this one would be Quijada. Quijada. Oh, Kiada. Kisada versus Kiada, and then Kiano. My German is showing through. Damn you and your goddamn romance languages. Noble and brave, but blindly. Quijada would be, but not Kiada. Kiana. Oh yeah, Kiada, the exiled king. Let's see. Noble and brave, but blindly following their own. Probably killing Draco here. Like, just murdering this man. Just because I am pronouncing it in the what I would like to refer to as the American way. Type El Chucho. El Chucho. Technically, that would be fucking phalangists. Because phalangism is technically, you could argue to be like, yeah, it's effectively you can go under two different ways. It's effectively it goes into Francoism, which Francoism is its own phalangist theories. What was their party? It was the Phalangist Party, right? Yeah, no, to give you an idea of the traditional Spanish phalanx of Castles and the National Syndicalist, what we will do, however, is we will do a Spanish to English translation, and we will do United, actually not United, this is a terrible fucking name, but then they'll just be Spanish phalanxes. Yeah, because these guys are like clearly clearly kind of the bad guy. So it is Phalange Española. Oh, it wouldn't be Española. Phalange Tradicional de las. The FTCN. Pretty much traditional phalanx of the councils of the nation. You can probably do Council of the Nation. Actually, what would be a good just like? What would be like a very just these guys are like clearly the fucking how do I want to do it how would you make this clearly these guys are fucking fascists? These guys are clearly goddamn evil. How do you how would you word something like that? Just these guys are clearly the bad guys. I guess you would be actually no, we can do National Syndicalist National Syndicalista. So yeah, we just do nationals, the FNS. Yeah, the FNS, then just be see if this is the Be like an ominous bird. Das Vater Legion. German word literally is just legion? Yeah, it's legion. Die Legion. There we go. There we go. Real fucking evil. Yeah, get sleep. How is this fictionally country called? We don't have a name. Yeah, I'm not that cool yet. We don't have a name yet. I think this should work. Pretty much it's just like, yeah, there's the phalanx, you know, the National Syndicalist phalanx. I'm like, that sounds clearly evil. Like, or fun. Yeah, like, they're kind of a combination, like, they would be, like, to me anyway, like, a combination of, like, the Italian, like, these guys would be like clearly like we can understand that like the FNL like the FNS is like the bad guys. Like we clearly understand that they're the bad guys. However, it's also like, are they really the bad guys, or is it secretly the Black Eagle Legion kind of thing, like the like super bad guy? It's, you know, fucking Cobra Commander tier. Yeah, like the Black Eagle Legion would be like, this is Cobra Commander tier. Like you've just hit a special layer of evil. And like anytime you are going up against anyone, it's like clearly these guys. Which like the big thing is like you can make a good argument to be like, yeah, okay, we kind of understand the Guard. Like we understand like these guys are fighting because they do believe that they are, say, trying to save the nation. And they might be good. That's the thing, they might be doing good. You know, they might honestly try to help people, because that's what they want to do. They're officially more the military. But then you have the Crusaders. With the Crusaders are like, oh, well, we believe in chivalry and honor, and we want to go back to the old ways of doing things. But they're also like, yeah, we believe in absolutist monarchy. Just like completely unironically, like we're absolute monarchists and fuck everyone who wants democracy. It's like, oh, like you can even kind of sometimes find, like, I would say you may be able to find, like, actually I should say it's a clearly evil. There we go. Let me have like the FNS is like, we clearly understand they're evil. Like they're the bad guys, but you have like little like things of like, okay, they did this for a good reason, and they believe anyway, being like, yeah, the old system, the old government was kind of corrupt. It was evil to allow this to happen. But like they're quickly being like replaced, like, yeah, I know you're just kind of bastards now. And then you have just the Black Eagle Legion, which is like, yeah, these guys are just super fucking evil. Like, yeah, no, we don't want to fuck with these guys. All right, okay, cool. Okay, I'm feeling pretty all right here. Took a little bit longer than I'd planned, but Edelgard fans will still simp for them. Yeah, like. So this would just be the Frente. If we do the Frente National Syndicalist, this would just be the National Syndicalist Front. Yeah, that works. Clearly still ominous. Because, like, the thing is, like, you still need to be able to be like, ah, yes, like, we clearly, like, we still need to understand, like, oh hey, like these aren't just the communists, they are the the population, they're the popular front. Okay, they're the popular front. These aren't just the anarchists, they're the Union of Laboral Nacional. I'm going to mispronounce something, I'm sorry. Like we clearly understand the ULN, but it's like the ULN, the FPL, the Free Army, the Coalition Republicana, the Republican Coalition. And when you go over here, it's like, yeah, it's the Guard is fighting the Free Army. Okay, like that's something like we kind of get, you know, the National Guard. The National Guard is fighting the Free Army. All right. And you look at it being like, well, I feel kind of bad because the guys clearly believe this. And again, you're in the middle. You're a little bit gray zone. But then it's like, ah, yes, the Crusaders, that they're a little bit weirder to pronounce. You still can. You're like, oh, God. And the thing is, anytime the Crusaders show up, it should be, oh, God, not these guys again. And they're like, ha-ha, we're going to do a cavalry charge. I'm like, no, don't do a fucking cavalry charge, you idiots. Like, they're clearly, you know, more, aha, ho, hee hee, look at me, I'm a, you know, these bright-eyed, you know, idealists in an odd way that are clearly just stupid. You know, then you have the FNS. The second they get mentioned, it's like, ah, damn it, we don't really want to deal with these guys because they're not good. And then it's just like the kind of the idea of being like, you know, the FNS show, like the FNS generals here, like, okay, we're a little bit worried. It's like, okay, there. But when it says like, ah, yes, the Black Eagle Legion is here, so everybody run. Everybody run away. We're going to die. No, Ben, why does everyone look at the past with rose-tinted glasses but never talk about the problems? Well, as I kind of end today's stream, a little bit longer than I thought. Well, I think it comes down to with, how do I want to word this nicely? We find it, things suck. Everything sucks now. It really does. Like, things are terrible now. Well, in the past, it wasn't terrible because we don't really want to remember. Yeah, you know, old thing good, new thing bad. That's a universal. People have been doing that for years. We do that because we don't. Nobody ever wants to remember when things are bad because we're living through the bad thing now. But, you know, in the past, well, things were better. Things were happier. People were gooder. And things were better because they aren't now. And it's hard to look to the future and say, well, things will get better when everything already kind of feels like shit. Yeah, and, you know, even Ethical Explosives kind of points it out. It's like, you know, old music is better in old RPGs because we don't hear about the bad stuff anymore. We don't hear about what did occur. When people talk about, like, the Depression, for example, they say, oh, the Depression. The thing is, though, with it, if you ever hear about stories about the Depression, it's never, I don't want to word it, it's never, well, it was the Depression, it was so awful, it was bad, but then things got better. But then we won the war. But then we, you know, fought the villain kind of thing. It was kind of a clearly like, things were bad, but then things got better. Yeah, even nowadays, it's funny, if you ever want to hear something odd, have any of you ever heard of early 2010s nostalgia? Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, kind of like, we're starting to already kind of see, it's been about a decade, that we're already kind of seeing that like early 2010s nostalgia, because 2008 was terrible, but now we have like, oh, cool. Like, oh, yeah, like things are getting better, early 2000s nostalgia. Hey, things went bad, but now things were better. That's why you have such like a weird, like people have such a weird opinion about the 90s, 80s and 90s these days. Like, think about it. How many things do we see like playing on like 90s? Yeah, you know, you ever hear about like 90s nostalgia or like 80s nostalgia? The reason why they're doing that is because nothing went wrong really during this. And there were clearly bad things going wrong, but like nothing really bad. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. It wasn't really like nothing atrocious was going on. However, were there bad shit going on? Oh, hell yeah, there were some bad shit. Fuck, we had the AIDS epidemic and everything. You know, all during that time, people were dropping dead. There were problems. People were clearly not doing too hot. But people really liked it. It was a better time. It was simpler. We were kids. We were young. We didn't think about problems. It was embrace of retrofuturism. I think that was just kind of an aesthetic thing that people enjoyed. It was like bringing it all back to the cyberpunk thing. It's like people enjoy what could have been. Like, oh, retrofuturism. That was so much cooler than the future we have now. Remember, it was like 2020, like 2 years ago in 2020. Everyone was like, man, this is stupid, man. We didn't get our hoverboards like fucking whatever Back to the Future promised us. The fuck? And I think there's some things that you could just never really, you cannot predict everything. And I think that was like one of the unfortunate things with like cyberpunk and like even Shadowrun, because I use this as an example sometimes. Shadowrun never predicted Google or wireless internet. They just wasn't a factor. You know, it wasn't like Cyberpunk didn't predict either of that as well. It just wasn't a factor. God, Google, that was impossible. It was pretty cool that people could access videos. Yeah, like nobody really expected the USSR to die, but then you actually but if you really read the death of the USSR, it was on fucking television and it was stupid. It wasn't a cool loss. This wasn't like a civil war. It wasn't this violent, exchange of, ideals. It wasn't, fucking, John Karate going up there to fight Ivan at the top of the Kremlin or something. No. It was they lost they were losing a fucking war. They had a coup. The coup failed and Gorbachev said, we need to fix it. And they did. It was like, holy shit. Just go into, I guess I die now. Like, yeah, it's very boring. Like, even like shit like Shadowrun being like, fucking Detroit is the greatest city in the... Detroit is one of the greatest cities in the U.S. in Shadowrun. And Detroit is the greatest city in the U.S. because Ares moved in there, a super arms company. They never predicted Detroit was going to happen. Yeah, GURPS Ultratech has a bunch of technology to pick this hyper-futuristic. Yeah, no, it's like, it's funny when you see some of these things, because it's like, you see things like, okay, here's the future for me, and it's, even look at things like Star Trek, and like, oh, the holodeck. That shit was insane. Holy shit. A holodeck? I can do whatever I want on it? Oh man, this is wild. Meanwhile, you can fucking log on to VR chat and see 7 furries fuck each other all across the world in fucking super, fucking super Japan that some random person from India uploaded. Oh, fuck. Well, shit. Yeah, it's You don't really think everyone wants a bright and happy future, but nobody ever talks about stuff before. It's interesting to me though, and yeah, finally a place where I can watch 7 furries from around the world fuck each other. The future is now. Yeah, exactly. Like the future turned out to be a lot more boring than what people predicted. It sucks. I hate to break it to you guys. I was promised in all of those books. I was promised by those books, those shows, everything, that we would get flying cars by 2020. We'd be the fucking Jetsons. We'd be having a ball. Man, I was going to be taking fucking rhino tranquilizers as I kill an AI in a fucking space station. William Gibson promised me this, and I got fucked over. Sucked. I was mad. So how much in movies and comic books and video games people just hate California. California, as someone whose family is from California. Oh, right there. Oh. Like, the thing with California is that California is such a massive fucking thing. It is so big. It is so important to the US, like infrastructure and economy and shit like that. It's such a massive thing. The problem is, everyone from California is a prick and likes to tell you that they're from California. It's annoying, frustrating, it's loud, and it's like, shut up. No one cares you're from fucking California. But do you know California has the 5th largest economy in the world? Shut up. Shut up. Shut the fuck up, California. And it's one of those things like, oh, well, California is so great, but I'm not from California. That's the thing. I'm not from, my family's from California. So I've heard all about it. But like one of the big things with, you know, good old Cali is it relies a lot on other states, but it doesn't like to tell anyone that, and it's always like the big one, and it plays such a vital importance in like the government. Like, yeah, I know, like 1 in 8 people are from California, 12.5% of the country, and you have things like I believe it's worth the 2nd most electoral college votes. You know, we're done with this for today, but like California, I believe, is the... Where's California? Yeah, California has 55 votes. Yeah, no, just to give you an idea, California is worth 55 votes. They are more valuable than the entirety, pretty much, of the Midwest in our government voting. It's insane. It's truly bonkers how important fucking California is. And they're all annoying, and then they do stupid shit, by the way. They do dumb shit. Like, nobody really talks about some of the stupid shit California has done. Like the fucking taxes that have, you know, come in from California, how they treat their homeless population. How, generally speaking, like, you have the mega rich in California, and you have fucking dirt poor nothing people. And, like, it sucks. California sucks. And it doesn't help that, like, see, what my big my thing, that they were actually trying to do this for a while. This was Cal 3. A really dumb thing, but this was actually a proposal. This was Cal 3, which was split California into 3 parts: South California, and North California. Because the funny thing that he pointed out was, like, down here would be the most populous state. Then you have California would be the second. This is not, like, North California is pretty light on population, relatively speaking. The only big cities are, like, in San Francisco. Like, it would be a lot more controlled. That's, like, this would be, like, the optimal solution. You know, it's like, yeah, like, just the state of California would have things like Los Angeles, Santa Barbara. You can see here, like, no, New California would just have 12.3. But, yeah, the entirety of Northern California, 13.3. Yeah, it would be nuts. Because this is the issue with, like, North California. Like, North California is fucking red, by the way. It's very red. Nobody liked that, by the way, because it was stupid. That was like the one big one. There was Cal 3, and it was like the other California solutions. There was a few California solutions, you could say. Let me see. Yeah, the 6 Californias plan. That was the other really dumb one. Yeah, this is the 6 California plan, where you split it up into 6 sections. Which, mind you, each of these sections still has more people than the entirety of, like, half the states in the, like, union. It's nuts. It's nuts. Yeah, California is a unique place. That's all I can say about it. Well, I'm going to end it there, because I have to go over every single one of your fuckers' games. Because you all sent it to me on Friday. Not Thursday. Not Tuesday. One of you sent it to me earlier. One. And now I got the 4 fucking games to go over tonight or tomorrow. Why do you do this to me? Is it the mega rich in California trying to buy up all the... No. Yeah, no, it's not the mega rich. It's usually what happens with like all the like water laws is because they usually get all their waters from out of state. Like that's usually the big thing. It's like the ultra rich. Because the thing that's happening now is that all the ultra rich are leaving California. Yeah, like the idea is that like a lot of like the really rich people are leaving California and going to states like Wyoming and like Idaho and shit because the taxes are a lot lower. Because like California tax rate's insane, by the way. You gotta remember that. Like California's tax rate's fucking nuts compared to other things. It's like, oh Jesus. Like it's almost European in the way that how high it is. Which is a funny thing of putting it, because you don't get any of the bonuses either, by the way. That's the joke. Like in European countries, you might get free healthcare, like really cheap college education or something like that. California, no, you pay for them to put more anti-homeless spikes in. It's great. I love it. Yeah, I'm gonna call it there. Thank you all for watching. My name is Notepad Anon. I will see you all on tomorrow, where I go over everybody's games you all sent me tonight. So, thank you. Good night. Godspeed and good luck.